Hello and welcome back. My name is Justin Shorty. I am a health educator with the Navajo Department of Health Special Diabetes Program. Today's lesson, we are going to look at stress. Stress less, eat healthy on the go, creating simple and tasty meals throughout the day. When we think about healthy eating and stress and everything related to it, a lot of times we skip meals, and unfortunately when we skip meals, we can't make up for any of the lost nutrients that we could have earned during that mealtime. And so when we're missing out on nutrients, we're missing out on key minerals and vitamins like iron, calcium, some fiber, protein, antioxidants, all sorts of different things that are beneficial for our body whenever we skip meals. And so it's important that when we skip meals, it leads to lower energy levels, increased fatigue, and even it can lead to increased stress throughout the day. So a lot of times when we skip meals, we overcompensate, whether it's the same day or later in the week. And so it's very, very important to have a structured meal plan throughout the day and try to think of your choices rather than try to strive for achieving every single food group. You can strive to choose choices. It could be 2 choices of non-starchy vegetables like broccoli, green beans. It could be a choice of a carb such as fruits, a serving of grain like a slice of bread, or even a starchy vegetable like potatoes. And it can even be a choice of lean protein like chicken, fish, tofu, lean cuts of meat. So when we start to step back and think about those foods, rather than try to strive to get everything all at once, we can start to develop our meal plans, not only just for ourselves, but for our families as well. And so that goes back to one of our concepts and teachings about eating just enough. So we're eating just enough to get sustenance for our own bodies to be able to move throughout the day. So there are lots of different methods of how to eat, but the best thing that we can do is what we're doing already, and that's with the plate method. So when we look at the plate method, just basic run through of it is that it's looking at half your plate full of veggies, a quarter of your plate full of something starchy, high carb, and a quarter of your plate with protein. So that breaks down into 2 non-starchy food choices, 1 choice of carb, and that could be 1 choice of fruit, 1 choice of grains, or 1 choice of a starchy vegetable. And then we can choose 1 choice of our protein. And that doesn't mean this is just what we're eating for the day. This is what we're eating throughout the day. So that could be broken up into breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even for snack time as well. And now going into some general examples of a simple meal plan using the plate method. For breakfast, breakfast is the start of the day. This is how we get the energy that we need to get moving. And on top of that, it's also a way for us to think about what we need to eat for the rest of the day. So a lot of times with people that I've worked with, we tend to skip over vegetables during breakfast. So with this meal plan right here, what we're looking at is we're bringing back vegetables into breakfast. And so with this plan, we're looking at 1 cup baked or roasted potatoes. That's our serving of carb or starchy carb. And then we can even add in like some sliced onions for increased flavor. And then for our protein choice, we can do 1 to 2 boiled eggs, depending on your protein requirements. And then for non-starchy vegetables, we can just make it simple and get like a chunky salsa or even pico de gallo. So that has like a lot of non-starchy vegetables that we can add back to our breakfast. We can move on to lunch. And a lot of times people, we like to, rush around for lunch. We sometimes opt into like fast food, quick service restaurants, and we can even run to local vendors to see what they have on the menu. So let's say, for example, we go to a vendor and they're selling roast mutton, right? Of course, we all like that. So we get our mutton sandwich. So the tortilla is gonna be one choice of carb. The mutton is gonna be the one choice of protein. And now what about the vegetables? We could probably ask for more chili. We could probably ask for some lettuce or even some onions. So there we have a balanced lunch plan going. And now that we're back at home for dinner time, we can also apply the plate method as well. So with this example, we have a baked sweet potato with no toppings, because remember, we're not adding in a lot of carbs, we're cutting that out. You can top your baked potato with a bit of cinnamon if you want some of that flavor added to it. And then for our protein, I'm going with like a 6-ounce steak. Just to help get to my protein goals. And then for non-starchy vegetables, we can do steamed or roasted asparagus and broccoli. Or as we approach, more different, depending on the season, we could do like squash as well. And the thing about with the non-starchy vegetables about steaming and roasting is that when we cook it this way, steaming or roasting, we're actually preserving a lot more of the nutrients inside those vegetables. And now, once we figured out our breakfast, lunch, and dinner plans, we can go on to what types of snacks do we want to eat. And so once again, going back to that plate method, one choice of carbs, one choice of protein, two choices of non-starchy vegetables. We can even break it down into what we want to snack on. And so a lot of times we can go to the basics of 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. So that's gonna be our protein choice. Half of a medium apple, so that's our carb choice. And for those who want to add more veggies to their meal plans throughout the day, instead of the apple, they can probably choose like celery, a cup of celery and 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. So once again, going back to the plate method, you're still staying within your food choices. And one thing we want to reiterate when it comes to snacks is that we want to have one choice of carb and one choice of protein. And so when we look at that visually, we can do 1 to 2 item food combination for snacks. That can be like a serving of cheese and a serving of whole wheat crackers. So there we have our cheese, which is going to come in as our protein source. And then we have crackers, which is coming in as our carb choice. And when we choose whole wheat crackers, we're getting the added benefit of minerals and on top of that fiber to help with our digestion. And then when we're looking at something sweet and salty, we can do like some peanut butter and some apples. And for those who are rushing around and don't want to worry about having to pack so many things for just snack time, you can even do 1 item snacks as long as it's within that 200 to 250 calorie range. And that looks like 1 cup of carrots, or in this case, 1 cup of baby carrots, or 1 boiled egg. And so these are just examples, something that you can start to think about when you're at home as you're planning meals, is that rather than stress about trying to get everything in all at once, you can take it back and think about what you have available for you and what type of food choices are you going to be choosing throughout each meal time throughout the day. And when it comes to snacking, we want to think about 1 carb choice and 1 protein choice. So that's all that I have to share for today. There's definitely a lot of information out there. And I just want to remind everyone to be active, be healthy, and prevent diabetes.